Hello and welcome to another episode of Baering the List, where I use Tiermaker, who are not a sponsor, but if they'd like to be, get at me. Tiermaker, are you listening? Anyway, I go to their site, I look up some ranking lists that people have put together, some templates. I find one that I think is going to be interesting for me to do, and then I rank. Now, I usually just rank within categories, the tiers, the S, in this case, S, A, B, C, D. Um, I don't generally rank within them though. So like if Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, who are former NXT champions, because we're ranking NXT champions, men's, um, I might put both of them in A, but I'm not going to put Tommaso in front of Johnny, even though Tommaso had a better reign than Johnny. And of course, we'll get to that in just a moment. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to look at all of them. There have been 16 champions in NXT as of the time of this recording. 18 title reigns because two have won, and those were passed back and forth, unfortunately. Um, and we'll get to that too. As always, this is just my opinion. In the comments section below, you can let me know if you think someone should be ranked higher or lower. I have been watching NXT since it became the revamp of it. Not the television revamp, the revamp as we kind of know it today. I watched very briefly in the beginnings of the NXT when it changed. It was like only on Hulu before the network. But I'm aware of those things. So I didn't see a lot of Seth Rollins and Big E's run, but I saw Bo Dallas's run, certainly. But I also didn't necessarily see Bo Dallas like before his change. We'll get to it. Anyway, we're going to start. I didn't order these to go through, but I didn't rearrange them. You can do that, of course. You know, I could have been like, let's go and order it or whatever. I don't care. It's fine. Tommaso Ciampa. I'm going to use reference here. Tommaso Ciampa was NXT champion for a while and beat Aleister Black, which was not really didn't really mean anything. The story of Tommaso Ciampa is always two things: what's going on with him and Johnny Gargano, and which one of those two is injured, because that messes things up pretty badly. You want Ciampa and Gargano to be a thing. You want that to be the thing. It wasn't. But Ciampa is a great heel. He's a great face. He's just a great tweener, great competitor. But this was nothing. People don't think about him as champion, really. But I'm going to put him in B. Now, if I'm putting Tommaso Ciampa in B, then Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling has to be a C. Johnny has, I believe, he has one of the shortest reigns. Now, his one win gives him the shortest cumulative days as champion of any of his competitors. There are shorter reigns, but both those shorter reigns are held by people who won the belt more than once. That when we'll get to those people in a bit. So he only held the belt. He's a transitional champion. Just the fact that he won after it was vacated by Ciampa, who had to vacate it due to injury, it was like, I guess if he had won it and kept it until Ciampa came back saying, I never lost that, I had to give it up, that's mine, that's something. But that didn't happen. Instead, Gargano dropped it after 3 months a month and a half, 2 months, because they put it on Adam Cole, who probably should have won that title and should have moved from Ciampa to Cole in the first place. So he's got to be a C. Also, as a perennial babyface who occasionally gets in his own way as a heel, which is interesting, the chase is always better than the reward. Really. Aleister Black. I forgot Aleister Black was the NXT champion. He was for over 100 days. He defeated Andrade Cien Almas, who I don't know if that was the way to go. Um, but I think that Aleister Black is a great wrestler, and maybe shouldn't have been still called up at the time, but maybe should have stayed at NXT. We're gonna go with B. Nothing to write home about. As I said, I forgot. Um, and speaking of Andrade, Cien Almas. Now, Andrade defeating Drew McIntyre. Surprise. I was certainly surprised with that. I didn't think that was going to happen. Um, I think Almas like has done great things, did great things with the belt, had it for 3 months. Probably should have had it. No, over 140 days. Look at that. Sorry, the person he defeated, Drew McIntyre, only had it for 3 months. Uh, Probably should have kept it for longer before losing it to Aleister Black. Is now doing some interesting things. Has been. I think Andrade with the. Here's the thing. Andrade just looks good with that belt, so I'm going to put him in A. Drew McIntyre, as I said, Drew McIntyre defeated Bobby Roode, who we'll get to in a second. Um, I just realized that this is in order. It's the different order than I would have done. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre returns. It is now when he wins, it becomes a world championship instead of just the NXT championship. It's the NXT World Championship, which is a distinction that means something to some people. Drew looks good with the belt. It's Drew's return. It's proving he can do it. It's proving his time on the Indies were worth it. I think his chemistry with a lot of people in NXT worked really well. We all knew it was going to be temporary. This wasn't a trial run to see if Drew's back. This was just giving Drew time on television away from Raw and SmackDown to make that transition again. I'm going to go with A. Short. Now, I generally have said short was bad, but I think it was impactful. And also, it was very important that someone had to beat Bobby Roode because Bobby Roode is a bad champion. Bobby Roode, you're going in D, man. Holy shit. Remember when Robert Bobby Roode was the best? Here's the thing. He's not. He's a good worker who they gave an incredible intro to that he did not back up. Did not back it up. Calling your DDT the glorious DDT, it's still a fucking DDT. Your moveset is tired. You look you can pull off the look, but your entrance is fucking just too goddamn cool for you. And you were champion. How long was Bobby Roode champion for? I'm gonna check my notes here. You were champion for 203 days. And you defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. Nope. Nah, Bobby Roode. Drew didn't hold it for that long, but thank God, because Drew needed to beat you at Brooklyn. Because, oof. Look, Shinsuke versus Nakamura versus Bobby Roode, as far as entrances go, it had to happen. But partly is just we just wanted more for Shinsuke. Just wanted more. So technically, let's do Shinsuke next. Let's just do Shinsuke next. So Shinsuke Nakamura, one of two men to held the title more than once. That is, the record is twice. Both him and Samoa Joe. They traded back and forth. Shinsuke Nakamura's second run was 56 days. First run was 91. Respectable. Won the belt the second time in Osaka, Japan, which is great. Won the title the first time in Brooklyn. Yeah. Shinsuke Nakamura, great champ. Good, obviously incredible worker. Great matches with Samoa Joe. just looked unbeatable. Shinsuke beating Joe felt like the only person in NXT that could beat Joe because we didn't think it was going to be Finn. It was believable. It made sense. It was great. There's one of our that A, but it's A because it was still it's the trading back and forth that sucks, right? Uh, Thankfully they have pulled back on doing that, but while I can believe that Samoa Joe can win that title back, I don't believe that even in Japan that Nakamura wins it again, and then only wins it for a little while and loses to Bobby Roode. That's the worst part of it. He should not have lost to Bobby Roode. So that's the best I can do is A. Samoa Joe. So I don't know if this is a good or bad thing that Samoa Joe's victory was at an NXT Live in Lowell, Massachusetts. Is that the coolest thing that's ever happened in Lowell, Massachusetts? The birthplace of Matt Myra, of Nerdist fame, and Samoa Joe won the NXT title there off of Finn Balor. 121 days before he loses to Shinsuke, wins it back. Okay, also bad, in the title exchange we said there, won it back for 14 days. He won it in Canada, and then he lost it in Japan. To me, the second win feels like they wanted Shinsuke to win it in Japan, but then Shinsuke shouldn't have won it in Brooklyn. Samoa Joe should have won it there. But then that's 2 takeovers before they go to NXT in Japan. So obviously that's not going to work. It's rough. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's got to be A. I think Samoa Joe is one of the best champions, heel champions to come in there. Just straight up heel. Dominant. Had to win that belt. We love seeing Joe in NXT. We love seeing Joe in WWE, of course. But yeah. Finn Balor. Finn wins, beats Kevin Owens at the Beast in the East in Tokyo, Japan. Holds the title for 292 days. It was not going to be Sammy. Sammy was not going to beat Kevin Owens. We knew that. We knew that was the case, right? We all knew that. That it wasn't going to be Sammy. Sammy wasn't going to be a multi-time winner. That storyline had run its course. Finn Balor doing it in Japan, the place that made him. His run. Small guy that just looks good with that belt. Just looked good with that belt. Yeah. Losing to Joe, yeah. Beats one complete other monster, loses to another. People have their things about the paint. I think the paint is fine, especially since we won't see it for a really long time because we won't see it until he goes babyface again. So it'll be a while. That's our first S rank. People could get mad about this one. I'm going to put him over Samoa Joe, but he's not going to be the only S rank. I just think that Finn made that belt mean something. Another person who made that belt mean something is Kevin Owens. Now, is part of the reason Kevin Owens dropped the belt because, it's like it was time for him to move up. It made sense, like the U.S. Championship and Cena and all that. Yeah, but he also... Kevin Owens came in, made a statement, hurt our boy on his big night, and then... 2 months later, took that belt away from him? Oh. A guy that seemed... Sammy had done it. He'd won the big one. Sammy won. He did it. And Kevin Owens took it away from him and looked dominant. If he could do that to his best friend, what was he going to do to other people? And then Kevin Owens takes that belt to television and says, hey, this is a real championship. This means something. I'm gonna fucking feud with John Cena. There's your other S rank right there. Unbelievable. Sami Zayn, Neville had turned heel slowly, started cheating, couldn't win clean against you. Issues kept happening there. You finally got it. You won it in a sorry, that wasn't the ladder match. That was this was your career. That's right. This was title versus career. I'm looking up the details of it. He would have quit NXT. He said I would have quit NXT. I should also say that Sami. I love Sami Zayn. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. El Generico was a good gimmick, probably of its time. Sami works so hard as a heel, as a face. You believe him. You believe what he's saying. He's one of those heels that says things that turned up a little bit, poked a little bit, focused a little bit more, but it's not wrong. Great character work, great drive, incredible moveset. Of course, injury plagued him there. He got the U.S. Challenge thing, got his moment in the sun, hurt himself. Lost the belt to Kevin Owens, I forgot to mention, because he could not continue the match. Because Kevin Owens brutalized him so much. Sami Zayn, you were in C. You were in B. You were in B because because your win against Neville was important and necessary. We'll get to Neville in a second, but you had to beat Neville. You had to do it. It needed to happen. So it was important. It had to be done. It was a feel-good story, especially after your series with Cesaro, getting that babyface fire, getting that big win, but short-lived. It's not Gargano bad, but it's not as good as the guys in A, which hurts me because he's, as I said, one of my faves. Neville. I was never big into Neville at the time. Adrian Neville. I liked that he turned heel because of greed and the gold and having it, and he would maybe turn heel and feel heel move and feel bad about it, using all the tools of his disposal. A little guy with a heart of gold. His win over Bo Dallas ruled. It was a ladder match, and it was a great showing. He did a great job with it. He held the title for 287 days, which is 7 more than Bo Dallas. Well, I guess there's some technicalities with some of the numbers, because when you're winning on taped shows, because there were a lot of taped shows. Now the wins are generally taking place on takeovers and they're live, and so that's fine. Whereas a Rival was Neville's win, so it's a little harder because of things being taped and all that. So my numbers are a little off for the beginning ones. There's like 20-day discrepancy between Bo Dallas perceived and actual. It's complicated. Anyway, Adrian Neville, you held the belt for a while. You turned heel to keep it. You lost against Sami. B. You didn't make the title. You were a good transition. Now, Bo Dallas. Talk about changing in response to the audience. The audience loved Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas, an early NXT breakout in the transition from the early versions of NXT, which was just kind of a holdover from the previous training, into the brand that it would become. Bo Leave worked as a face, but people got sick of that smile. They got sick of the same. They started turning on him. And because it's NXT, they ran with it. Bo Dallas. It's such a weird thing to say. When you're looking at this list of people in the S rank, people in the A rank, even people in the B rank, we got guys who are struggling on the main roster right now, but we also have people who are thriving, who are gonna win, champions in other brands. Bo Dallas peaked in NXT. He's probably not ready to go up. They definitely didn't have anything for him. Carted off and dragged out, loser leaves town style. But did a lot for that brand. As I said, lost to lost to Adrian Neville in a ladder match, which is cool. So I'm gonna put him in B. I can't put you in A, Bo Dallas, but you're a solid B. You were necessary. Okay, so Big E held it for 100 and something days. Defeated Seth Rollins in an ODQ match. This is Big E Langston. This is count to 5 Big E. This is the Big E that I had to go back and watch and never saw. My introduction to Big E was as the heavy for Ziggler. Didn't know that he had been in developmental. When people talk about Big E Langston, even in the context of the New Day, they talk about the New Day championships. They talk about tag team. The New Day doesn't talk about Big E Langston being former NXT champion at all. They talk about their tag championships, talk about all of Kofi's different championships that he's had, all of the Medi that he's had, but it's never brought up. And Big E, of course, former NXT champion. Never brought up. Which says a lot, because they talk about themselves. I listen to their podcast. Big E Langston, I'm putting you in C. And then Seth Rollins, first champion. I love that it's Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins in NXT for a cup of coffee. Champion for 133 days. Obviously, more greater things were going to come for Seth Rollins, bigger and better things. He defeated Jinder Mahal in a tournament. And I'm going to see who else was in this. I remember that tournament being wild when you look at it. So this is 2016. So we've got Richie Steamboat, Leo Kruger, Bo Dallas, Jinder Mahal, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Justin Gabriel, and Michael McGillicuddy. Seth Rollins defeated Drew McIntyre and Michael McGillicuddy, and then Jinder Mahal in the finals. Richie Steamboat, and of course, defeated Leo Kruger and lost to Jinder, and Jinder beat Bo Dallas. Boy, oh boy. I don't know what to say about it. It's a good belt. It was the main roster people that came down weren't anything incredible, really, unfortunately. The people that had, competed in it that were in this tournament were great, but they never really did it again. It was, Florida Championship Wrestling had been a thing, and there were, Dusty Rhodes called it the Gold Rush. It's a good name. I don't think they ever did it again. Yeah. I don't know. I'm running out of steam on this one because I'm feeling I don't know where to put him. I don't know if I want to put him. We'll put him in A. He's important. He's the first champion. That means a lot. Of course, he had bigger and better things to do there. So I'm going to put him in B. It's not more influential than Bo Dallas's run, but he is the first champion. And that's my ranking. Now, in the show description below on YouTube, in the comments area, in the show description, you can see a link to this list if you want to do it yourself. And in the comments below, let me know what you think. Are you big on Bobby? Did I screw up Bobby Roode? Did Bobby Roode actually have a great reign, or was he just a cool catchphrase and theme song? Was Big E's defenses incredible, and did I miss out on that? Do you think Gargano deserves to be higher up? Is Ciampa too high? Should Ciampa be lower? Is CN? Am I loco for putting CN in A? That's terrible. I'm sorry. Should there be more S rank? Should I put? Is Joe having a second reign that is the shortest reign, keeping him out of S rank? Should he be in S rank? It's hard. There are questions in this. Oh, and you can see the person. Oh, that's fun. Brandon Stroud made this. That's fun. I didn't even notice that. That's cool. Brandon Stroud made this for Tiermaker. That's fun. Anyway, this is not an endorsement of Brandon Stroud. Anyway, yeah, you can see that. If you have any ideas of things I should be doing, let me know in the comments below. This video is longer than I was expecting it to be, but I still think it was pretty fun. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time on the next Baering the List. Goodbye.